Okay, so good morning, everyone, and it's still morning because few seconds are left for the clock to turn to 12 noon. Thank you very much for joining today's session, which we are conducting from Pro India. My name is Amit Saha, and with me are my two esteemed colleagues, Pavi Raheja and Shweta. So,
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
so So, little bit about myself, and then moving on to Shweta and then to Pavi. First is that uh, for Pro India, this is our fourth year, and we've been talking a lot on plastics, doing a lot of work in the space. The space itself has been changing very often, and lot of regulations and their versions have come in. But as soon as I came out of Coca-Cola as a chief sustainability officer in 2018, after working about 20 years with Coke, I realized plastic is the space, especially in India, especially with this government, especially with people at the governance level, so very keen to get rid of single-use plastics and making sure that Swachh Bharat gets aligned to it, or plastic gets aligned to Swachh Bharat. Plastic is the only thing which remains for multiple years, whereas everything else around the waste which we litter either gets recycled or gets composted. So there there will be there will be a recording session of this which is getting recorded with Shweta. I think Shweta, you're recording this, right? Yeah. So recording sessions will be available. Meanwhile, 2018 we started Pro India, and Pro India is in the space of plastic circular economy in a way that are all the innovations packed into it. But more importantly, we are supporting EPR for multiple companies and trying to help them comply by recovering and recycling or managing their plastic waste, post-consumer plastic waste. Okay, so that's me. That's Amit Saha, and then we have Shweta Basu, who is the sustainability head for us and the coordinator of this program. So Shweta, if you could just speak about yourself for a minute. Yeah, go ahead, Shweta.
Thank you, sir. Hello, everyone. I'm Shweta Basu, and I am the head of sustainability at Pro India. And we are basically, I handle the sustainability reporting and the policy making of Pro India. And I have a background in research from University of Ireland in sustainable resource management. And thank you all for joining this session. We are very happy to see such a good response. Thank you. Over to Pavi, sir.
Yeah, so Pavi is a mechanical engineer from BITS Pilani, and he has actually run a complete plastic industry by himself as an entrepreneur, and then he has joined me as a director of operations and EPR. So Pavi, if you could give a small intro. Pavi, can you hear me?
It's mute from Pavi's side. Hi. Good afternoon. My name is Pavi Raheja. I am the Director for Business Development Operations at Pro India Recycling Private Limited. Before working at Pro India Recycling Private Limited, I have run my own compostable plastic manufacturing unit, which we commissioned way back in 2011. After that, I have been involved in a lot of in the FMCG space as well as packaging. So I have a very good holistic understanding of the industry, and now we are looking to do some wonders in ensuring that the entire legacy plastic waste as well as freshly generated plastic waste is removed from the environment.
Thanks, Pavi. So that's a short, crisp knowledge about Pro India. You can reach out to us. You have the email IDs, phone numbers, and everything else. So let me go straight into the subject. Plastic waste rules have come actually in 2016. The first plastic waste rule came in 1999, actually. and I think, or maybe even 1996. Some of you may be having that information as well. So it didn't have any teeth. So now, when in 2016, a lot of MOEF and CII, FICCI, everybody came together, the whole program got a lot of lift because there were certain mandates which were coming out for PIBOs, for producer, importer, and brand owners. And that is how the whole activity started. First 2 years was more or less understanding of the space, and there was hardly anyone who could service the space. So real work really started from 2018. So from 2018 to 2022, there have been multiple versions of plastic waste rules and more refined versions. And it had one thing which was probably lacking was the EPR, extended producer responsibility, which was with MOEF and was waiting with them for about 1.5 to 2 years, and finally they released it with 60 days of public response. And somewhere in on 16th February, the entire thing was released by MOEF, and then they gave time for CPCB to put that into their SOP, which was already running, so which was shut down for revision accordingly. And hopefully we will see the CPCB portal today also, if we get access to it. There have been some challenges. So so this has been the space in the plastic waste. I wanted to share all of that information that you normally would like to look at for the plastic waste is something that you can find it here. Just 1 minute, I will see where am I on that. Okay. Have I been thrown out of my companion mode? Okay. One moment, yeah. So I'm hoping that you're able to see my screen. And what I'm going to do quickly is I'm just for some time I'm just going to turn off the microphone because I'm going to speak, and then as soon as Pavi comes in to speak, then I'll open it up again. So all the information regarding plastic waste rules is something that you can find here at this place. I probably will unpin myself. If are you able to see my screen, full screen, Pavi? Sorry, Pavi.
Yes, I can see your screen.
In the full screen, you are able to see it?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So at proindia.net, in the offering space, which I'm just opening up here, you can see there are multiple things that we do, but we'll not talk about consultancy, advocacy, innovation, social impact, awareness campaigns, and franchising, which means that we help people to set up their industries in recycling. We'll only talk about EPR. So the first one, and in this, there are three. So what is EPR? There is the whole page on what EPR is and what EPR should do actually in European countries. This is what EPR does, and what India should do also is that it has to have additionality, traceability. It should always be compliant and should have transparency. Specifically for India, the Plastic Waste Rules 2022 is here. So you can always go to CPCB website and also get it. But I have it right here for you. And starting from page number 20, you will see the English version. So Hindi version up to page number 20 and then after that. So there are this plastic waste rule now is inclusive of many other things. More importantly, it is inclusive of 3 R's that which we will not discuss today. Those 3 R's are reuse of the bottle or container, and second is recycling, and third is use of recycled material. So PCR. Basically, these are the 3 things that are very importantly covered in this regulation, but we will not cover it today. Why? Because most of this is kicking in after 2 years. So at this point in time, we'll keep a separate session. If some of you are interested in this space, we'll keep a separate session. This does have a list of this document does have a list of what is the PIBO. So it talks about PIBO. Okay, it talks about registration and how the registration will happen. It then talks about what are the targets for PIBO, for individually for producer, for importer, and for a brand owner. Now, the other thing is that this also has a quantum which is pretty clear in terms of what you should have done in 21-22, which is, let's say, if you have 25% target, that you should have finished in the last year. I'm considering that today is the end of the last year. The 31st March of this year is 25%. 1st April of next year is when the target becomes 70%. So, just very important high level things. Together with 75 and 25, 95% of the total 2 years quantity, if you did, you are clear. You are in the clear. Okay. So it talks about pre and post consumer waste also. And Pavi will take us through a little bit of a calculation using the screenshots if the portal is not working. It also talks about multiple other, so there are 4 categories of plastic, which is also mentioned somewhere here. And in this 4 categories of plastic, there is in each category, either it's a flexible, or it's a rigid, or it's an MLP, or it is biodegradable. There are targets defined. So for importer, producer, brand owner, targets are very similar. But what are the difference between importer and brand owner? Once we go to the screenshots of the CPCB screens, that will give you a better idea. End of life is also available, but something which is going to later on be not very much encouraged. So producer, importer, brand owner, and after which then it talks about a little bit about the detailed of calculations. So again, I'm not going to go item by item on this, and since this is already out, so I'm therefore not talking specifically in terms of taking your feedback also on the same. The important thing here is there are certain roles and responsibilities in the CPCB portal today. There are only 2 parts which have opened. One is registration of a PIBO, and second is registration of a plastic waste processor. But there are 4 other portals which have to be opened, which is how do you actually put your document for the year-end submission, which is not something which has been described here. And important here is that there is no mention of a ULB. So there is no mention about whether you need to take acknowledgement or you need to get a particular type of document. So what is the detailed documentation requirement is not very known at this point in time. We are waiting for the year-end documentation portal to open. In any case, probably it will open in the next few weeks because May 31st is the year-end. So it also has roles of people defined. And one of the role which came out very clearly was that producers have to even look for creating a network of collection points. If you see my screen right now, 14.2, it says that producers have to set up a network of collection points. So at this point in time, producers depend largely on waste management companies like us. Or I mean, we are not a waste management company, we are a PRO. But we producers were depending on waste management companies to demonstrate their collection centers and then go and take a ULB acknowledgement of activities what they have done. This one does not talk about ULB, but it still talks about that producers may set up their own collection points or a take back points. Okay, this is an important, very, very important item here. Okay, and then it talks about the portal, so we will get to the portal straight away. So I am going to go back to the PRO India website and go to PRO SOP for PIBOs. So next maybe 10 minutes, I will request Pavi to talk about what is the requirements as per the portal. And if there is certain access issues at this point in time. So if we still have an access issue, we'll stay with this. If we do get chance, then we'll get to the portal also, because there's something wrong with the portal right now, because it's in a trial basis. It is working on a trial basis at this point in time. Okay, so let me quickly hand over to Pavi. Open the microphone and pin it at him, and then Pavi, you can start.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, everyone. In fact, we were hoping that I could share my screen and show you the portal, but there is some OTPs that are required to come on email. Those aren't getting through right now. Had they been getting through, we would have been able to show you this thing. Nonetheless, we have screenshots, and through that, we will give you a step-by-step introduction for the registration of a PIBO. So obviously, we all know the website that is there is www.cpcbepr.plastic.in. That is the website for registering on this portal. And once you open the website, you will see there's a registration link. So what you do is you click on the new sign up. You click on register. It will show you options that you can select from what type of registration you want: brand owner, import, producer, importer, plastic waste processor to be selected. Now, the important thing in this right now is that the brand owner, if you're a brand owner, you're a producer and an importer separately, you have to register separately for all three applications. So like, let's say I'm a company which is a small company which has been exempted from EPR, but I am an importer also. So a small brand owner is exempted, but a small importer is not exempted. So the importer will also have to register. And if I have my small manufacturing facility of making some amount of, let's say, plastic packaging material of any kind, I will still have to register on the portal. So I'll give you an example. In this, what happens is sometimes some companies like to customize their own packaging, and they have some injection molded items or something. So they will have to register on their own. Once you've registered, it will ask you for your email address, password. It will ask for all the details of the concerned person. You enter them in. You will get you will have to enter 2 OTPs. One will come on your mobile phone, one on your registered email address, and then you're inside the portal. Now the portal has 3 parts: part A, B, C. Part A is primarily for brand owner, B for producer, C for importer. Part A is basically general information. This will actually be common for all, in which you will put your company's PAN, SIN, GST, copy of authorized person's PAN and Aadhaar, copy of the registration in case this is for renewal, details of products and produced, marketed / basically you have to give your catalog, and you have to inform in this catalog how much plastic is there in each product. And then registration certificates from DIC and state government or union territory or whatever the district industry center is there, that has to be submitted. Now in this, I will also like to add that, let's say you have multiple manufacturing units. All the details of all the manufacturing units need to be shared, combined into one file, and that needs to be uploaded. It will also ask you for the amount of capital you invested in as a brand owner. You have to give the total capital invested by you across all. Now, if you're a brand owner and you also have your own manufacturing, let's say in terms of in terms of a manufacturing facility, you will have to give the consents of that. It is now we need to understand one more thing. As a brand owner, you need to be disassociated from the fact whether you're manufacturing or not. If you are a brand owner, you're manufacturing or not manufacturing, you're liable for EPR. If you are an importer, I will come to in the next case what will happen. And if you're a producer, you have to again go through the EPR, this thing, irrespective of any conditions. Then you will also give you state-wise how much plastic waste is being introduced by you in a year. So let's say I am a producer or a brand owner who has a factory in, let's say, Uttar Pradesh, and I sell my products to a distributor in Karnataka. So then for that Karnataka amount of plastic is being introduced, which will be categorized from your GST returns and your catalog, that much amount of plastic I have to remove. I have to give details of that in this form. Then year-wise, I also have to give details of where I'm procuring my plastic packaging material from. This will list of approved plastic manufacturing material providers will be given on the portal. So it's already there on the portal. You will have to select that. Let's say there is a company ABCD Packaging Private Limited. You bought material for them. You have to select from them. Then in the next wise, what will happen is a category wise EPR target will be generated. Right now, in terms of reuse, recycle content, all those options are not coming because they're not applicable for now. You will only get 4 options: rigid plastic, flexible plastic, MLP, which is your non-recyclable plastic, and as well as compostable. You will then also be told to upload a covering letter. After you've been uploaded the covering letter, you'll have to upload a PNG of your signature, and any other information that needs to be uploaded will be uploaded, and then you will submit the application. Once you hit the submit the application, the system will auto compute the fees you have to pay. Up to, I think, 10,000 MT, up to 1,000 MT, it is 10,000 rupees. Up to 10,000 MT, I think it's 20,000 and 50,000. There are 3 slabs for that. That detail has been shared on the portal. It will automatically calculate. Now, the difference between producer and brand owner is that in this, almost all documents are same, other than a flow diagram of manufacturing, process input and output in terms of product, as well as waste generated will be have to be given. So basically, all process in terms of the manufacturing, your inputs, outputs, as well as waste generated, including any waste that is generated for captive power generation or any water in terms of cooling water or effluent that is generated, will have to be given. All other documents are same as brand owner. So once all these documents are uploaded, you follow the same process, and you will upload everything onto the portal, and the system will automatically auto-calculate the fees. Now it comes as importer. Now let's say you're a brand owner and you're importing a certain component, and that component has plastic packaging. You will have to register as an importer as well. Like, let's say I am a brand today and I import something from abroad, which is in a plastic packaging. So I will have to register as a brand owner as well as importer. In fact, already Central Pollution Control Board has sent a notice, letter to the chairman of the Central Board of Indirect Taxes, which basically controls custom, that no custom shipment which has any form of plastic, either packaging or any packaging which is used in the plastic to package the product, should be allowed to be cleared without registration. Till now, the portal was not active, so again, customs was giving a very lenient approach towards this, but this will again get extremely strict in the next coming few months or weeks for that matter. Again, everything else is same as brand owner, and then you. So even if you are a brand owner and you are importing a commodity which is in someone else's brand and you are selling it, you will still be liable for EPR. The only where the brand bit comes is if you own the registered trademark and you're an entity who's manufacturing or procuring from manufacturers based in India. If you're an importer and your turnover is even 1 lakh rupees and you are importing any kind of plastic product or any product that is packaged in plastic, you are liable for EPR. Yes, this is the fees. So if I said, as I said, between less than 1,000 MT of plastic waste, it is 10,000. Between 1,000 and 10,000 and 20,000. Above 10,000 is 50,000. 25% of the fees will be given as annual fees, which will be given at the time of return filing. Return filing has to be done by the 30th of June every year. Application status, you will again see it on your dashboard. All important thing is all applications will either be accepted or rejected within 15 days. You will not have time period to answer or give any clarifications on the portal. Once you've applied, in 15 days, either they will accept your application or reject it. They will not give you, okay, please file clarification, submit extra documents. It will be done straight away.
Thanks, Pavi. So before we move on to the SOP for plastic waste producers, plastic waste processors, PWP, for the brands, I was meeting a brand yesterday, and that particular brand has manufacturing units in couple states, but is selling all over the country. So obviously they will have to go through CPCB. Even if the brand is producing only in one state and let's say selling in only one or two states, you still have to come back to the CPCB portal, because CPCB portal will take all that information from you and then transfer that information to that particular SPCB from where your approvals might come. But for you, it will be one single portal, one single opening, whether you are operating in one state or you're operating in more than two states. Earlier, this was paper-based approvals at the state level, now, or their internal portal. Now they have this portal, which is one common portal. That is one thing. Second is, within that particular brand which I was meeting yesterday, it had some manufacturing of their own in terms of making the multi-layer plastic packaging, as Pavi mentioned. So they have to therefore register themselves as a producer also. Even if there is a captive consumption and everything is being manufactured and used within their own plant, they will still consider themselves as a producer. Third is that this particular brand was also having its own recycling facility within the plant, within one of the plant, where they were doing pre-industrial, post-industrial, basically the yield loss and the quality issues. They were converting that into gulla or whatever, the lump of plastic, and then selling it because of the brand trademark protection, and not getting, throwing out good packaging for spurious products to come in. In that case, they will have to also get a recycling registration or PWP registration. So what we are trying to say here through this is, you might have to use the same portal, but you might have to register as producer, importer, brand owner, PWPF, multiple through the same portal, but multiple ways, because that is what is required. And as far as producers are concerned, in some states, those states where you input your post-industrial plastic waste, which is the factory waste, automatically the system will consider that those are the places you are manufacturing your product. So these are the few simple clarifications. There are more questions that I'm going to ask Pavi, but what I'm going to do quickly is, I'm going to just go on to the SOP for PWPF, which is again very similar, and therefore it will be easy for Pavi to maybe quickly go through. So Pavi, over to you.
So yes, the CPCB portal also registers PWPs. Now you need to realize it's going to be an automated system. At end of the year, how we have in GST, the PWP will say that I have given so many recycling certificates to these PIBOs. The PIBOs will enter it in. The system will again check it out. Whoever has given the lower of the two figures, it will accept that figure. Okay, so now here again, the PIBO will have to register. They will have to provide a PDF copy of their GST, PAN and SIN. Once the registration is done, then they will have to give a GPS location of the facility, where exactly the facility is located. They will have to give details of the authorized person. They will have to submit PDF copy of Aadhaar card and PAN card. They will have to give exact details of their existing / fresh registration, renewal of registration, type of facility, process flow diagram. Everything will have to be given, and date of commencement of the facility will have to be given. Consents from the respective state pollution control boards will have to be provided. Now, pictures of the facility with geotagging has to be given. Process, production process, product dispatch area, video link of the plant, everything has to be shared. Plant machinery details will have to be given geotagged pictures of the plant and machinery. Plastic waste processing capacity and power load. So basically the amount of plastic waste it is processing, that has to be given, power load of the plant, the electricity bill they're using. And then waste management basically means the waste of the plant. So let's say it's a waste to energy plant, then you have to give that we will have fly ash, and the other waste that is coming is your air effluent and water effluent, and how you are treating it. Detail of that has to be submitted in a PDF format. After that, we will provide details of all the disposal facilities, where you are disposing of the waste you are generating. If it is, let's say, water waste, then you're disposing it off in your own ETP. Details of that will have to be given. If there is ETP sludge, that will go to hazardous waste. For that also you'll give disaster management plant. All those details will also be given of the how, in cases of any disaster management, you're planning to mitigate loss of life or property. Then you will have to make online payment if of, again, based on the slab you want. Application will be uploaded. Within 15 days, you will receive a yes or no from the portal. No clarification will be sought. If application is rejected, it will be rejected by the portal. And if it is accepted, it will be accepted at the back end, and the entire processing will happen. And there will be no, maybe the is stuck. Either you will get yes or no.
Okay, Pavi, thanks. I'm sorry, I'm trying to be quick so that we are able to do this. I'm kind of racing Pavi in this. But the important thing which Pavi said, few of the important things. Now, the entire onus on getting you the certificate is lying on the PWPF. So let's be clear that PWPF is the one which is going to give you the recycling or the processing certificate. If it's a cement plant, it has to give you the processing certificate, and not only give to you, they have to load it directly on the CPCB site and then mention that they have allocated for you or for the PIBO this much. Okay, so if you are a PWPF or if you have a recycling plant, you will have to directly go on the CPCB site, register yourself. In registration, you have to explain your entire process along with videos, photographs, what are the raw materials, what are the equipment, what is the finished good, what is the waste that you have generated. Also, you have to geotag your plant, and you will have to attach the consent to operate, which mentions the capacity to handle the plastic waste. So if your extruder has a capacity of, let's say, 5 tons per hour, then you will have to mention 5 tons per hour or so many tons per month or so many tons per year. And that will be checked by CPCB on a later date. Second thing is that your location is tagged. I'm assuming that this will be a situation where you will be asked, if you are a PWPF, you will be asked, where did you take your material from? So whether it's a waste management company which has to supply it to you, they will give you all the logistics related document. For example, this state, this district, this is the LR copy, e-way bill, photograph, truck, challan, this is the receipt, this is the dharam kata, XYZ. That will become a prerogative of PWPF or a recycling plant or a cement plant, whichever way you consider, whichever category you are in. So onus comes to you. If you declare more than what your capacity is, then CPCB will come down heavily in terms of penalties that, look, you are not done this much, your capacity is not so and so. So this entire ownership right now of document accuracy shifts to the PWPF, number one. Number two, waste management companies are now merely transportation agencies to transport the goods or plastic wastes to your site if you are a PWPF. That's the number two. Number three is ULB documentation has not been referred in so far. In fact, in the registration also, both in the case of PWPF, you have seen with Pavi, and also in the case of brand, you have seen that they're not speaking of ULB. In the previous CPCB portal, the ULB was supposed to be mentioned. You had to mention which agency will pick up from there. Do they have an agreement with the ULB? And will they be able to get the acknowledgement? All that information you had to scan and upload. Now they are not asking these things. I'm assuming that by this, the whole thing has become a little bit more simplistic, but the ownership still remains back to PWPF in a very big way. We are not a WMA. We can understand the plight of WMA. We are more like PRO, so we are only agencies in between. There are WMAs, big WMAs in this call, and maybe some of them may have not been able to join, who had this responsibility of collecting and also getting the endorsement from the respective ULBs. So we'll have to wait and see when the final documentation, yearly documentation comes in on the May 31st as to whether those things are still very valid. But I can assume at this point in time that those probably are, there's a less set of requirements from those set of companies and those ULBs anymore.
Sir, may I add something onto this?
Yeah, Pavi.
Yeah. So you need to be, one more thing you need to be sure of, that one thing which has changed now in this SOP and previous SOP is now there is a concept of audit. Earlier there was no concept of audit. Now audit is going to come onto the portal. SOP of that audit and what are the documentation for audit has not been released till now. So again, this is wait and watch. Once that SOP is out, we will be able to give more clarity. But from what we have right now, you can be sure that, and even it was there in previous SOP, endorsement was never required. It was an additional document which made your case stronger, but endorsement was not required. Now the WMA and ULB agreement and that has been removed. So now WMA is basically, as sir said, merely a transportation agency.
Right. And as Pavi was mentioning, that there is 2 or 3 or 4 more modules which are going to open up. So one of the module is an audit module. I don't know where it is, Pavi. Is it in this document or it was in the CPCB SOP document?
It is in CPCB SOP document is there.
Okay. I cannot show you, but I can send you that it mentions very clearly as to what is that particular thing that requires. So maybe they will have some auditing mechanism, and they will have certain auditors who will get enrolled.
Right.
So that is one thing which will open up, and that will be become a standard way of auditing the documents and maybe blockchaining it later. Second thing which will open up is awareness. People who would like to do awareness and other things around with the social part of plastics, that is another thing which will open up, awareness and training program. Plastic exchange portal has not opened up yet. So plastic exchange in terms of credit can be exchanged between parties. That is another portal which will open up. Year-end portal has not opened up. So these are the 3 or 4 things which will open up later. And mind you, most importantly, what has not opened up, anything which Pavi mentioned in the beginning, is the 3 R's which I talked about. 1 second, I'll just show you.
In the meanwhile, there are, as sir said, 7 sub-portals which will come onto the CPCB portal. One is for registration of PIBOs, which is there. Registration of PWPs, which is also there. Next, you will get for trading and settlement of EPR obligations by PIBOs. 4th is filing of annual returns by stakeholders. 5th will be for levying of environmental compensation. I will come to this. A lot of people have a question about this. I will answer this in again later in the call. Then there is also third-party audits which will come into this system, and training and capacity building for stakeholders. So these 7 parameters or 7 modules will come into play. Of that, only 2 modules, registration of PIBOs and registration of PWPs as to commence implementation of EPR as per these guidelines, has been launched.
Thanks, Pavi. So if you see this slide is little old. This is the slide which came in with the EPR draft documentation. It still has 35%. I think it is 25, right, in 2022. So that is a small change here. So please consider that. But if you are a brand owner and you have these brands and then you have these obligations, therefore. of different categories. So this is the thing that we were doing all this while, which is called recovery. And basically 90% of our recovered material was getting into a cement plant for co-processing. What is important to note is that there are three other things that has got added. One is the addition of reuse of packaging. Now this is going to come after 2 years, but it's an important thing. It is not there in the portal right now. It will probably come in the portal only after a year or so, we don't know. Second is recycling of the packaging. So one part of it was that incineration is a form of recycle. That was something which came up in 2018, because at that point in time there was no idea of what we do with MLP. But government is expecting that more and more MLP will get recycled through harmonization. So they have even put a target for MLP to get recycled up to the extent of 5%. Okay, and of course the others obviously. And the third is reuse of recycled content back into packaging. So these are the 3 R's which are not there at this time in the system. In the portal also it is not there. So we don't have to immediately think of that. But strategically in your business plans in the next year, please plan it accordingly, because these are not the things that can happen very quickly, and you can switch quickly to another things, because it takes time. Any of these activities. So let me quickly go and ask some of these questions which have been asked by you and some others. I'm going to ask these questions to Pavi, and maybe quickly is more like a rapid fire. So, and maybe some of these have been already answered. So let me begin by saying, what if we have only one factory in one state? Do we still go to CPCB portal, Pavi?
Yes, sir. All our applications will now be moved through CPCB portal. If you're in state jurisdiction, CPCB portal will automatically forward the application to the concerned state.
Okay. We have multiple plans. Do we put all the capital spends till now in one file?
Yes.
Capital means capex.
Yes, all capex you have to club together.
Okay. We have multiple plans. Do we put all the documents like DIC registration, pre-consumer plastic waste, etc. in one file?
Yes, sir. You put all files together. Or all the states you combine the data and upload it as one file.
So basically just join all the individual consents, individual DICs, because you may be a big brand and you may have multiple plans. So just join them, right?
Yes.
And then load it.
But be sure all documents you're submitting, you will not get a chance to review them again. Submit all documents in one go, otherwise application will be rejected. There is no place for correction of application.
Right. Does the system calculate the EPR?
Yes, system gives you your annual every year based upon the data you are entering in, either in time of registration or annual filing. It will give you your next year's EPR target.
Okay, so I don't know whether Pavi could still get into the CPCB portal, because the portal is not working right now. Pavi I'll request him to do one more trial. But let me say this, that portal has 2021, 21, 22, 2 years of information it asks from you. Basis that on 2021 it puts 25% of the target, and 2022 it's going to put 70% of your plastic as EPR target, correction target. So then it combines this, and so therefore the system defines if you have any compostable plastic in it, automatically there is no EPR required for the same. The system will mention it as 0. So these are the 4 things that comes out: MLP, rigid, flexible, and bio. So system does complete the EPR requirements, calculates by itself. However, there are maybe some brands here which may have more than 25% in last year. Okay, and they might have also done a lot of good work in the previous years. The way CPCB explains is that you can take a credit of the same and put it in the next year. So we have to figure this out as to whether you can take a credit for before 2021. That we do not know. How will you do so? But in 2021, 2022, which is ending this March, you can take the credit of this and take it to the next year. That is definitely available to you. Most big brands normally that we have spoken to, they have always mentioned that they would like to continue being 100% because they are already on that path. And I really congratulate for brands like Dabur, Unilever, and many other brands who have now crossed that 100% mark and they're 100% plastic neutral. Next question, Pavi, is how do I know if my vendors are registered or not?
The portal will automatically show you a drop-down list in which all approved parties will be there on the portal. So in this, I'd like to add one very important thing. This is for all PIBOs, producers, importers, brand owners. You are not allowed to deal with anyone who's not registered on the portal. So first, obviously, the producers will have to come on board then. So if you're a producer, you cannot sell your plastic packaging to a brand owner who is not registered on the portal. So this is a very crucial aspect of the portal.
Right. So, Pavi, what you are saying is that if the producer who is supplying plastic packaging and supplying it to you as a brand owner, if that person, that company is not registered, you will not be able to select that from the drop down. And therefore, it is very important for you to get your producers also included in the list. So they will have to register first. Also, important is that GST numbers have to be incorporated. Now, as Pavi mentioned earlier, that this is a new thing that CPCB is doing, where they are trying to make sure that movements of goods between sale and purchase and GST credits and GST offsettings and all that can be seen by CPCB between your producer and yourself as a PIBO. And same thing will happen for other transactions also. So it's like a checkpoint that your producers have some quantity. Let's say producers have produced, let's say for example, Uflex has produced 100 tons of multi-layer packaging, and it has sold to all the big brands which have done their EPR to the extent of 80 metric tons. But there are small brands which have not done the EPR, or maybe they are unbranded stuff which has happened. Something has happened and 20 tons are left. So that becomes the producer's responsibility. And instead of explaining it on the portal, CPCB will figure it out by themselves because they will see the GST transactions. This is a very, very important connection between movement of goods between your producer and yourself. And that is how more producer will automatically start coming in, because as a brand owner, you will have to take care of compliance, I think, and therefore you will depend on them.
Yeah, and in the meanwhile, till the time all producers are not available on the drop-down list and they are unregistered, some brands, for some brand owners, they can upload details of unregistered packaging material suppliers, and then CPCB will take strict action against them.
Probably CPCB will send a notice saying that please register yourself, right?
Yes.
I think that is what is going to happen. The idea is to open up the net of people. So far only 360 companies have registered in CPCB in the last 3 years. CPCB must be expecting a tenfold increase in registration of companies, in local companies, state-wise companies, national companies, producers, brand owners, and even PWPF. Okay, so the next one is compostable plastic shows 0 in the system. Does it mean that one has to do nothing about it? Although there is a mention that there has to be some industrial composting. So what is it?
Yes, for that industrial composting, an EPR obligation has to be made. Currently, maybe system is showing at nil, but that will be fixed at back end, and EPR will be applicable on compostable plastic as well. Though biodegradable plastic has been exempted from the purview of EPR. So initially they used to consider biodegradable as compostable. Now they have made 2 categories. One is biodegradable, second one is compostable. Compostable EPR needs to be done, where end of life instead has to be shown as composting or compostable or industrial composting.
Yeah, so thanks, Pavi. This is an important one. Earlier, we used to say that our product is compostable. Now, we, as an EPR responsibility, what is not biodegradable what is not home biodegradable, that product will have to be taken into an industrial composting site. So industrial composting site could be even a site where biomining might be happening, and you may be using windrows to do the 28 days of composting with rest of the soil, with rest of the biodegradable soil, kitchen peels, kitchen waste, wet waste and everything. Expectation is that one has to demonstrate that it has got composted. Compostable doesn't mean composted. That is the thing that has been always a cause of concern, because if right conditions are not there, then compostable plastic will not really compost. Then the next question is, what about reuse, recycle and recycling of content, Pavi?
So that will come after 3 years. We've already said that after 3 years the targets will come, and as and when they come, the system will start computing them. So out of those 3 years, 1 year has gone, 2 more years are left. So,
all right. So what are the documentation requirements for the new SOP for logistics, e-way bill, LR, waste slips?
So right now there is no requirement. PWPF will issue the certificate in electronic form on the portal. It will again basically be returns will be cross-referenced, and that is the only requirement. But we suggest for audit purposes, you ensure that you have as many documents as possible to ensure that actual movement of goods and actual disposal of plastic waste has taken place.
Yeah, so at this point in time, let me mention that in our portal, in our Protec portal, which is a Zoho-based platform, we maintain an entire set of documents electronically, and it's almost like a blockchain. So to that extent, we are maintaining and we will continue to maintain the same set of documents till such time CPCB comes out with requirements saying that you need to drop ULB acknowledgement letter, you need to drop ULB endorsement, ULB agreement or whatever. At this point in time, we'll just continue, but I'm hoping that in the next few weeks, we will have this clarity from CPCB as to whether those requirements are really needed or not, and who really has to take the ownership of those requirements, which most likely shows as PWPF. Okay. So the next question is, who is liable for audit and third-party audit? Are there liable for third-party audit? So Pavi, you had already explained. So can you?
That SOP will be published soon.
Yeah, so there will be an SOP for audit, which will be published soon. As soon as it comes, we will send you also a note on the same. So there will be some standard ways of auditing the entire process. They cannot be something which is just open, because there will be auditors which will get registered or enrolled in this space. Very important question is, what about ULB acknowledgement and endorsement? What is that so far which we know?
So as per old SOP also, ULB endorsement and acknowledgement was not required. It was an additional document that brands or let's say brand owners, PIBOs were requesting in order to confirm the audit trail. But now the entire process is going to be done electronically, and CPCB has said we will only tally what is being submitted by the PWPF, which is your plastic waste processor, and the PIBO. We will only look at that data.
Okay, perfect. So we'll have to wait a little bit on this, but as I mentioned, for Pro India, we will continue to work on the same set of documentation till we get the new documentation, and obviously we will also work towards helping in the auditors' processes. Okay. So the next question is, what happened to our earlier application? And in some cases, people have applied along with the money.
Yes, so for this, our CPCB has just come out with an SOP. The SOP clearly states that anyone who had old registration have to be aligned with the SOP within 3 months of issue of this SOP, for which registered PIBO shall resubmit the application online along with the relevant information and processing fees.
Okay, so basically you have to resubmit everything,
right?
And more importantly, you will have to submit an application to state that, look, we are we are wanting to take our money back. So that application is extremely important to be shared alongside. Okay.
No, in fact, for that, a committee has to be formed under PWM under chairmanship of Chairman Central Pollution Control Board. Once that committee is formed, all these proposals will be put up to that committee, and that committee will take final decision on that. So this is again a very tedious process, but there is provision that the committee can issue refund of previous registration.
Okay. There was one question which I think we have answered. What do we have to do for state PCB website registration for plastic waste?
Yes, so first there is nothing that has to be done on the State Pollution Control Board website. Everything will be routed to CPCB. CPCB will automatically forward the registration to the concerned State Pollution Control Board. They will have their own admin panel. They will log in from that and they will approve the registration. They have a whole process where Member Secretary State Pollution Control Board is the final signing authority for same.
All right, good. So I have this running list I have finished. I have something on the WhatsApp which talks about the percentages. I think we have already answered 25%.
No, I will like to talk something about that also. Target for this financial year was 25%. If you have not done the 25%, the government will levy environment compensation on that 25% in the next financial year. If you are able to meet that requirement in the next financial year, 60% of the environment compensation paid by you will be refunded by the government. In case you are not able to pay that amount, in case you do not do that, in the next year that amount again decreases. So like that, there is a schedule. So if you have not done 25% this year, you will have to pay environment compensation on that 25%.
Right. Perfect. Okay. Now I think those were the questions which was on the chat box. I'm sorry, I had kind of stopped the chat box for a while. I'll open the chat box, but more importantly, what I will do is I'll also show you a Excel sheet where your questions have come in, and maybe we'll take some questions from there. Okay. Just a moment. Now here, if you see the sheet in front of me, this is all the list of people who had registered with us, and unfortunately, and I'm really sorry that more than half of them we were not able to allow into the session, and I think the list continues to grow, and I think in the last half an hour 30 more people have also registered, but unfortunately we could not allow more than 100. There are some very good questions which have come here, and something which has not been answered before. So I would request, let's take up a few of them. For example, turnover. So there is something on turnover that you should understand, that MSME, which is by definition, I think Pavi will explain more, 50 crores of turnover, 5 crores of turnover and 1 crore of capital.
No, 5 crores of capital, 50 crores turnover.
5 crore of capital, 50 crores of turnover. If you are an MSME, then you do not have to do.
Only as a brand owner. If you're a producer, then you have to do.
Yeah, as a brand owner, you don't have to do EPR. If your turnover is 50 crores or less, and your capital is 5 crore or less, and you are a brand owner, you do not have to do it. Otherwise, you will have to do it. Even if you are an importer, you still have to do it, but we had already explained. So this is one of the important things here. Let me just move forward quickly to see what else Pavi has greened. So is acrylic toy decorative item environment friendly? Can transparent plastic film more than 50 microns be used to wrap it? So this is an important question in terms of wrapping. There is a requirement which says 50 microns. Now, sometimes stretch wrapping is not feasible in 50 microns, but government has come back and said straight away that stretch wrapping or whatever wrap that you are doing for the product has to be of 50 microns or above. We'll have to still figure this out. Last time, a lot of representations were made saying that the pallet wrapping to hold the pallet together, the contents on the pallet together, requires a stretch wrap. Stretch wraps should not be more than 30 microns. because otherwise the stretchability will not work. So we'll have to see how this thing will pan out, because previously we said that it's an integrated form of packaging and it's part of tertiary packaging to keep the pallet together. But this will be something which will remain contentious. Okay, so we'll have to be careful. How to calculate the quantity of F1, 21, 22 for brand owner? We have already explained that. I'm talking, these are some questions that PIBOs have asked. You can see which are the companies here, and need to understand to what extent these rules will apply to us and how to go about it. These rules are applying to everyone, so it will apply to you as well. And I'm assuming that you're above 50 crore turnover. Applicability of plastic waste rules to OEMs. This is a very, very important item. Many of us consider ourselves as OEMs, and therefore, since we are supplying to, let's say, Maruti, okay, and if you are supplying to Maruti, and Maruti is the main car manufacturer, and whether car manufacturer should come in the EPR or not, there are car manufacturers who are already doing their EPR. Automobile companies like Hero Moto, Honda are already doing EPR. So there are e-commerce companies which are already doing EPR. There are other companies who are also doing EPR. There are some cement companies also which are doing EPR. But you know what? Sometimes what happens is people think that, okay, generally cement companies are not supposed to do EPR. There is nowhere in the SOP, nowhere in the plastic waste rules it is written that cement companies are excluded from EPR. Their bags are made of plastic raffia bags. Then therefore they are included in EPR. Yes, they might have taken up the case through the High Court, Delhi High Court and few others, but nowhere there's an exclusion list. There is no exclusion list. So coming back to OEMs which are producers, because you are producer, okay? So you are a producer, then you are using plastic wrapping in as part of your packaging. Let's say your plastic packaging is taken care of by Maruti, and Maruti is using all the plastic packaging and putting it to the scrap and declaring it as a part of the plastic waste, a pre-consumer plastic waste or post-industrial. Then obviously you don't have to worry about, but you still have to register and demonstrate that my GST wise, this is the material which is going to Maruti, and therefore I am not doing the same. Okay. If you are selling in the OEM market, for example, right, say you are a spark plug manufacturer and you are selling spark plugs not only to Maruti, but also selling spark plugs directly into the market, then obviously you are a brand owner then. So you will have to register yourself as a brand owner. So OEM in general, for example, Hella or any of these electronic lighting, tires and stuff like that, you have to register in the in CPCB. What is the Kohler has said? They want to understand the entire piece on EPR, which I'm really thankful that Kohler is participating in the session, because as a brand you are only selling mostly silica and glass, but you are wrapping mostly in plastic. So yes, you are responsible and you will have to be part of the same. Okay. Then there are certain companies which says my plastic consumption, we have taken plastic consumption for 1 year. What is the procedure of extent to the new implementation needs and done for extension? Extension is not happening by its own. Okay, you might have got a plastic waste registration 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but you will have to come back to the new portal and re-register yourself. Okay. Lot of good companies here, and a lot of them are already doing some stuff. For example, I know Kandhari, they're already doing plastic waste management well. They would like to understand. Now, for example, Jindal, Mr. Varun Gupta, if he is here, it's extremely important to understand that Jindal is a producer of film. Maybe 90% of Jindal's plastic is getting into a brand owner, to which the producer does not have to do any EPR, but Jindal has to register as a producer. Alpala has to register as a producer. Mr. Varun Dixit, you have to register as a producer, right? This is the first important thing. Second important thing, I will request Pavi to talk about a little bit on the PLA based work that we are doing on how to make MLP compostable Can you speak about it, Pavi, for a minute?
So MLP, basically, if all independent layers of MLP are compostable, the entire MLP will be compostable. PepsiCo has developed one for this brand called Sun Chips. They've developed a compostable structure, which is a little noisy right now, but they've reduced the noise also in the Mark II. So yes, we are working with a lot of companies. In fact, BOPP lines can be shifted on to make BOPLA as well, retrofitted to make BOPLA. BOPET lines can also be retrofitted to make BOPLA films. So PLA is a very good product which is natural as well as compostable. So bio-based as well as compostable. So it promotes a circular economy. It won't get you outside EPR, but it will help you promote a circular economy for sure.
Right. No, same probably will apply to Max Specialty, and we have Rakesh Thakur. I don't know whether he is in this call or not, but it's very difficult to replace PET in as one of the layers, because it is such strong layer and it really provides so much of barrier properties. But that is exactly what it makes it non-recyclable. Okay. And the harmonization actually breaks down the melting points, and the MFI changes substantially, and something will burn if you heat it up. Okay, so to that extent, the PLA-based, bio-based work that we are trying to do, it could be a game changer in the sense that once you introduce the PLA-based multi-layer packaging, then you don't even have to do any recycling. Because it is bio-based, it will compost, or it will biodegrade by its own, and it will not leave any traces or any chemicals or any traces or any catalyst behind. Okay, this is an important area. It will automatically take care of your what you call EPR requirements, regulations, once you start moving into this space. And probably at some point in time, multiple film manufacturers will have to do work in this area. We are working with some leading researchers in this space, and we will be very happy to bring you on and at least come to you and demonstrate what we can do. This is all. There are a whole lot of questions. I'm sorry, we will not be able to take all of them. We are at 13:07. But Pravi, is there something that I'm missing?
I think we've comprehensively covered everything in this seminar. We've spoken about the responsibility of brands, PIBOs. The important thing everyone needs to realize is that they will require to re-register. What happens to the fee is something that needs to be taken up with the appropriate committee once the committee is formed. And they are basically the committee which will be capable of answering all questions. And once their first sitting is done, and once that is there, obviously, but I request all PIBOs, producers, importers, brand owners to please register on the new portal. It is absolutely important, and remember, in this there is no opportunity of submitting corrections or clarifications. Do it once, do it right, and you will get your registration.
All right, perfect. So what I have done is, in the last 5 minutes or 7 minutes, I have opened the chat box here, and I'm just going to. I knew that it will be a flurry of chats which will come in. Many of the answers I will not be able to give it in the short time, but let me still take up some of these, okay? And I'm sure, Pavi, you can take some, I can take some. So Gaurav Shah says that they are operating more than 2 states to go for CPCB. If company has a unit only in 1 state, then we have already covered this. Even if you are operating in 1 state, you still have to you still have to go to CPCB. CPCB will in turn send your document to the state. Okay. Then Gaurav Shah says, do non-brand owner who are not MSME register? If you are a producer and you're not a brand owner, you still have to register. And you are producing in plastic packaging, still have to register. So 2022-23 EPR registration form, the EPR target is 70%. Yes, it is 70%, not 25%. 22-23 is 70%. 21-22 is 25%. Together, these 2 years they have asked because together they want you to do it. So together it is 95% of your 2 years total, which is approximately 40 to 43% for each year. Okay. Then please share the recorded version. I'm hoping that Shweta has been able to capture it. We are going to get a lot of negative feedback from the people who have not been able to attend. They will be very antagonized. I'm really, really sorry for the same. No, we just did not know that we have a capacity of only 100 people to come in. Going forward, state-wise compliance is required in ratio of plastic waste. Yes, ideally, yes. But CPCB today has not put that in the portal. I am hoping that they put it in the portal where the yearly submissions capture your state footprint is already something that you have declared, pre-consumer, post-consumer. Okay, and the hoping that BWPF on your behalf will declare from that which state they have picked up material for you as a PIBO. So automatically this kind of a balancing might happen. We do not know. We'll have to wait. Mohit Asati from GSK says, going forward, state-wise compliance is required in ratio of plastic. Okay, so we have covered this, Mohit. Thank you for joining, Mohit. I'm very happy that at least some of my friends have joined here. People who have been really early, they have been able to catch this. Okay. Aman Yadav, please clarify the point of brand owners, including the online platforms, marketplaces, supermarkets, retail chains, other than those which are my MSME criteria. So let me say that online platform like Amazon, like Flipkart, like DHL, they are already doing EPR. Okay, so if you are an online platform and you are not doing EPR, that means you are already non-compliant. They have been doing this EPR for last 3 years. So please remember this. So you have to do it. Second, if you are a supermarket chain, and there are supermarket chains which are already doing EPR, but if you are a supermarket chain and you only have Unilever product, P&G product, Coca-Cola product, PepsiCo product, Marico product, then you don't have to worry. But there will be a situation that you may have your private label, which means that आपका अपना नाम लिखा हुआ या नाम नहीं भी लिखा हुआ है, आपने प्लास्टिक में अनाज को या 1 किलो चने को पैक करके सील करके रखा हुआ है for convenience of your consumer, you are liable for it. For those parts, private labels, white labels, which is selling from your shop, you are liable. Even if the brand logo is not there, since you are selling it, you are liable. Okay. Exporters, some question was asked that why should exporters not be responsible for EPR? Let's take care of India first. Okay, let's take care of India, and then we'll take care of the world. Okay. At this point in time, India has a lot of plastic waste, and it will only grow because our consumption is 1/10 of US. 1/10. Okay. So therefore, our single-use consumption is also less, but it is only going to grow. At this point in time, many of these countries in Europe have their own plastic waste regulation, much tighter than us. Europe has it. Okay. So you cannot export to Europe if you cannot show GRS certificate, if you can't show CE, UL, or any other respective certificates. Entering into Europe itself will be impossible for you. So some countries have it. Some countries are still trying to figure it out. Okay, so if you are exporting into some African countries, maybe you are able to do so. But if you are exporting into Europe, most likely you will be asked the same question and you will have to demonstrate. Okay,
I think for exporters, probably the exact modality, they can reach out to us directly over email. We'll share the exact process for that. And
so export-oriented units, like Jiju has mentioned, Jiju Thomas or Gigu Thomas, if I'm speaking wrong, but export-oriented units require certain certifications which we can help you separately. Okay, how
we can give you the modality of that.
2021-22 EPR compliance would be submitted in the new portal. Yes, 2021-22 EPR compliance will have to be submitted in the new portal. Portal will open. Obviously, it has to open quickly because May is not very far from now. Tetra Packs comes under which plastic category? It comes under MLP. Okay. Any layers, as long as there's one layer of plastic, is an MLP. So if there's 95% carton and 5% plastic, it is MLP. Okay, so a Tetra Pak comes under MLP, nothing else but MLP. I'm operating a MSW processing facility. Thank you very much. Please, we'll meet you separately. Write to us. Lakshmi, given the responsibility that has been casted on importer producers, what is the applicability of rule on OEM? We have already taken OEM, talked about OEM already with you. Target calculated automatically. Yes, it is automatically calculated, Mohit. Lakshman is saying that, is it required to be registered on the portal? Of course it is. Priya is saying, what about third-party manufacturing units? Yes, you have to register as a producer. All third-party and contract packaging units have to register as a producer because you are a producer. Okay, so you'll have to register as a producer. Yes, you can show that my entire quantity is being picked up by XYZ brand, and then your work is done. But and let's say if it's 100% offtake, yet you have to show yourself as a producer. Does state-wise data to be reported for the states? No, that will probably happen directly through CPCB by their coordination with their PCB, state-wise PCB. Okay, Manoj, Mohit, you have a lot of questions, so I'm just going to skip this. Supply to exporters. As a producer, if you are supplying, so you have to register. I'm operating a MSW plant. We have already covered this. Does importer need to file annual filings? Yes, because year-end information has to be inputted, so some kind of a filing will be required. Sales of packaging materials to exporters, yes, similar as a packaging, as a producer, you have to. If you are a producer and selling material to BO, brand owner, do you have to take 2 registrations? Selling material to BO and directly to more than 2 states, you will have to be a producer, so you have to register as a producer. If you're not a brand owner, then you're a producer definitely. Priya says, do we file annual filings for PIBO this year or next year? This year. Because 21-22 is last year. So you have to register for sure, and you have to file annual filing by May 31st. So if you have not registered, please register. If you don't know how to register still, please contact us. We will help you to register. And please help, we will help you to even do the annual filing. We have been doing it for multiple companies. We can do it for you. Intermediate agencies, vendors has to be registered on the CPCB. Yes, because they may be producers. So you might have to register them and ask them to register, because if without their registrations, your document will not be pakka, will not be complete. The GST part will not match. And then the notices will start coming to you, because producers may be a smaller company than yours. We are operating manufacturing of paper. Very important question. Paper has plastics. Recycled paper has 50% plastics. When you put the paper and plastic into the tank, and paper will solve and become fiber, and you will take out the fiber, what will be left will be plastic. So you will be having a huge amount of plastic as a pre-industrial plastic waste. So if you are using paper, let's say for example, if you are JK paper, okay, and you have very little paper with plastic, just the sheet on top of the cover, which has a film of plastic on JK bold bond paper. So you will have to register. Once you register, then you'll have to declare pre-consumer plastic waste also. Once you do a pre-consumer plastic waste, you have to do EPR on the same. So
they will register as a brand owner.
Yeah, as a brand owner. Sorry, as a brand owner. Sorry. Push Singh says, in case of brand owners facility, EPR target applicable to all distribution of products in multiple states, and then the EPR target is state-wise and unit-wise only brand owner for the brand owner. I did not understand the question, Push. So really, I'm not able to understand the question. Okay, I think that is about all. If a brand owner has more than 10 third-party manufacturing units, all the 10 parties have to register. If you have 10 parties, 10 co-packers, 10 party have to register. Producer of plastic packaging should have registered, but producers of, this is moving a little too fast for me. We are operating manufacturing of paper. We have mentioned that you should register. If you are putting plastic in packaging, paper packaging in some form, then you register as a brand owner. If you are just not doing it and just sending it let's say you are making craft paper, and all the craft paper is going to some company, okay, for packaging, then you don't have to register as a brand owner. Okay, if your target facility wise to brand owner distribution of products different states for EPR fulfillment. Again, I'm not able to understand the question. It is 1319. If anyone has anything to say, we'll have 1 or 2 minutes for the same, and then we can close the session. Some of these questions and FAQs will put it together in a nice document, and I will request Shweta to put it together, and we'll send it out to either to your WhatsApp group or to the mail ID that you may have, and we will be very happy to take more questions maybe in the next session. We'll be very happy to help you in the EPR journey. Our idea is that 300 registration from CPCB should go to 3,000, because that is how the rest of the India will work. Because at this point in time, we have only done 2 to 3 lakh tons of EPR at a country level. 2 to 3 lakh tons against 60 lakh tons of plastic waste that we generate every year is peanuts, right? So it is really, really important that all of us step up to the same. Any closing mentions or talks, that any quick comments anybody would like to make? It's open. I think my call is open. So
Amit, can I add, Amit?
Yeah, please.
Amit, I'm Rajendra Patil. I'm heading EHS Engine International. I would say it is a good initiative on behalf of Government of India on a overall intent of making better for Earth and all that. We appreciate that initiative, Amit. But we also look forward to your association in assessment. Like, we all have several questions. Today is 100 participants. Tomorrow you will conduct another 100. So we are looking forward for an association of, we have a queries. If that queries are answered, then we have clarity on implementation plan. Maybe I'm talking on behalf of all the participants. I have my own queries. My colleagues had posted the queries, but unfortunately, because of the time, it has not been answered. If the website has some link, we can write our queries and then get started on communication and assessment part of it, Amit. I need that facilitation.
Okay. At this point in time, Rajendra Saab, first of all, apologies that I did not realize that my system has a limitation of 100 participants. Number two is that we thought that the best way to take queries is from the initial form, Google form, which we have covered, and we will convert into FAQ and send it. You have my mail ID. Please write your queries, and we will be very happy to do a one-to-one session with you, okay? And take it from there. Absolutely, the idea is not to make this information very, very difficult to get. And whatever we will know, and maybe I'm not saying that I know everything. We just know maybe 70%, and maybe the rest of members may know 50%. So there is only differential. But we still don't know 30%, as we mentioned, right? So thank you very much. Gaurav, you had something to say?
Yeah, so the producer definition is in 2 parts. One is people who are making the plastic material, and the second is the industry using the plastic material. And the EPR guideline says producer of the packaging material are liable for it. So the producers who are not brand owners, do they register themselves or do not register themselves?
Pavi, you would like to take?
Yes. So I'll tell you what. There are 3 categories of people who need to register for EPR obligation. One is producer. Producer is any producer of packaging material. Importer. Any importer who is either importing plastic packaging or any material packed in plastic packaging. And third is brand owner. Any brand owner who is not a SME, basically a micro or small industry, has to register on the portal. So as you said, if you are a producer and you're making plastic packaging, you have to register. As an importer, you have to register. As a brand owner, you have to register if you're not a...
But using plastic packaging as non-brand owners. Brand owner MSME is exempted. How can brand owners who are MSME using the plastic be not exempted? That is the question.
So the SME using the packaging is exempted. Their amount of whatever quantum of EPR is will have to be done by the producer. It is the responsibility of the producer selling to the SME to ensure that EPR of that amount has been done.
So Gaurav, if you have more questions, Pavi has already given the mail ID. Okay, please write here. We will respond to your questions, and mostly our FAQs should cover most of the questions by themselves. Okay, we are more concerned about your time, because we three are 1 minute of three of us is 3 minutes. But 1 minute of all of you is 100 minutes. Okay, so I am concerned more about your time. So therefore, we will like to close the session. And I really thank each and every one of you. We feel very fortunate that we are in the company of 100 people who are interested in doing EPR work. 100 set of stakeholders. What we will do going forward is we will hold one more session, especially for PIBOs, one session especially for PWPF, and maybe that is how we will keep 100 divided. And I'm hoping that at that point in time we will not have anybody left out. Okay, so with that, thank you very much, Pavi and Shweta, for conducting this. We will post this on a YouTube channel, and so that the others can have a look at it. But the specific questions that we will get from you, that should come on a mail, and we will try to answer it in the next VC, which we'll try to do it very quickly. We will not wait too much for this. Okay. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Good information you have provided on this portal. Thank you.
Thank you.